Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 52. Mike just told me that, so I've remembered it. That is awesome. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, man?
Yeah, I've been better, but I've definitely been worse. How are you, man?
I'm good. Just having this conversation with you, these first few seconds, I can immediately hear a huge difference in this room.
Yes.
It's dead.
In a good way.
Yeah.
It's dead, Jim, but not as we know it.
Exactly, yeah. So for those listening and not watching, we have, I finally got all of my GIK sound panels up, so reverb has been cut down to nothing in this room, virtually. So yeah, you should be hearing us better than ever, but if you are hearing us and not viewing us, why are you not watching us on YouTube? We're a couple of handsome bastards. And on that note, Mike, show that shirt off. So Mike is currently modelling the Guitar Saints t-shirt. The premium t-shirt, because this show is brought to you by our own merchandise. We have our own faces on shirts again. So if you would like to check these out, please do head on over to Teespring. It's actually just teespring.com/Guitar Saints, though there will be a link in the description if you would like to grab one of these and support your favourite two angry podcasters. We will be talking about angry things today, as you would expect, and if you want us to continue doing that, then grabbing a t-shirt is a great way to support us, and they are nice shirts.
Actually, funnily enough, I have two things to say. First thing, for anyone watching and listening, I am so sorry. I'm going to be even harder to understand than usual. I have swollen glands and my tonsils are swollen, so there's times where it sounds like I'm trying to talk with a golf ball in my mouth. I'll try my hardest to either talk slowly or very clear, but I apologise in advance. Second is, I just got this t-shirt. It's the first I've seen them in the flesh, and I am really impressed. Like, it's really well printed. I think it's actually a digital print. It doesn't seem like it's a screen. It's really, really, really good quality. It's quite thin. It doesn't feel like it's like going to come off or flake or anything. Yeah. And the actual material of the t-shirt is really soft and nice.
Yeah.
And it's a really good fit.
Well, what I decided to offer for the shirts was there is an economy shirt, like the basic Teespring quality shirt, which you can buy
premium one
in limited colours. But I wanted to offer a premium quality shirt for people that wanted a shirt that was going to last longer.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I ordered a bunch of them for me and the family. And yeah, I'm really happy with how they turned out. But enough about us. This show is also brought to you by Ormsby Guitars. We've got some Ormsby news to talk about today, right? We have no pictures. We've been trying to get some pictures
for us
from for us. Yeah,
for us. Let's be honest.
What are we allowed to talk about with Ormsby? What's happening?
Everything that our dear Supreme Leader Perry has sent us, which is some hints and sneaky previews of what's coming for NAMM 2020. The guys are obviously.
Are you about to tell me that that's all embargoed and we can't talk about any of that?
No, we're allowed to talk about all of it. That was what I was trying to clarify when I sent that message.
Yes,
so
cool.
I think so. I don't think we should really dive in too deep, but there's a few really tasty changes to models, new models.
Why don't we give the ultimate teaser, right? So the ultimate teaser. I have a Goliath. It is behind Mike. That's the Ormsby headless model. Super, super cool. And I am led to believe, I've been told and in fact shown, that it's a signature model, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So there is a signature model coming out, and it is the Goliath, but it has a head.
And I want to say this is a reliable source.
But it's Perry Ormsby. So it's
a reliable source.
It's a relatively reliable source. So keep your eyes peeled for NAMM. That will be happening in a few weeks. And yeah, we're really excited to check that out. Go
on. Just in case it's not, that teaser photo that Perry sent us, I was going to say we should show that, but we'll maybe keep a hold of that.
Yeah, that one, I mean, just from the look of it, the caption on it looks like that was from an Instagram story, but I could be wrong on that.
Do you want to share it?
I don't have access to it. I might add it in afterwards. Who knows?
We'll behave.
Probably not. I'm very underprepared. But yeah, as always, huge thank you to Perry and the guys over at Ormsby. Please do go and check them out. We like their guitars. We like their guitars a lot. So yeah, they rock and they're good people. We like good people. Good people are the most important people.
Yes.
Speaking of NAMM, speaking of leaks.
Oh,
I've
baby.
got something on screen there. We'll talk about that in a second. But as this goes up, actually 2 days maybe before this went up, I got the exclusive or an exclusive from Ibanez. So there is a full catalogue rundown of Ibanez on my new channel. Of their new catalogue, and there are some really, really cool guitars in there. But you know what? I tell you what, Chon. Do you
Mm-hmm.
mind the 2 Chon signature models that were out last year? I believe I have them.
I
to
don't,
hand.
funnily enough. I remember the Polyphia ones, but I
Yeah.
don't remember the Chon ones.
So the Eric Hansel signature is an absolutely handsome, handsome guitar, and I was considering buying one of these last year.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? There. Do you remember this? I can bring this up
Oh
now
yeah,
because
yeah,
this
yeah,
video
yeah,
will be
yeah.
live.
Yes.
So I was considering buying one of these last year, and again considering buying one of these this year. The cool thing about this catalog that I've been given is they have prices in them, which is you
Pimping.
don't tend to see that. But of what's been very interesting about the last year of guitar sales, and especially for Ibanez, is regarding like these modern, what would you call these guys? Modern progressive instrumental guys, Polyphia and Chon, the bands,
Yep.
right? You've obviously got Tim Henson's signature model.
Mm-hmm.
If you go online and try and find any info about these 4 guitars, everybody seems to have bought a Tim Henson. Everybody is playing that and talking about that. Hey, check out my new Tim Henson signature. It's a really cool guitar. First experiences. Here's a review, etc. A couple of people got Scott's one, and I understand that because Scott's one is beautiful.
Yes.
There are essentially no videos of the Eric Hansel model. So that's a shame.
I do find that a bit of a shame. It's funny you say that. Polyphia seemed to be of the 2 bands, Chon and Polyphia. My favourite of the 2 is Chon. I think Polyphia got a bit too wanky, but that's just me personally. I don't mean that like personality wise. I mean just that the music itself got a bit too wanky. I wasn't great on or really big on their last album. I wasn't big on Chon either, but then we went to see them.
They were very good when
and
we
they
saw them.
blew the cock off me.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were like I was so pleasantly surprised. And I mean, that's a cool guitar.
Yeah.
I'm not too hot on Mario's. It just looks like a kind of not that just it reminds me of
A 20-year-old guitar.
it reminds me of like the RGs. A lot of the RGs you used to see kicking about. I think it's like an RG 750 or something that's like the same kind of colour style.
Yeah.
With the shark fin inlays, but the Eric Hansel one's gorgeous.
Well, I can see why people like that Tim Henson one, because you've got it's the black and gold, which is a very cool look. It's got the 2 telly pickups and then a mini humbucker in the bridge. It's a very
inlays.
I don't think flamboyant's the right word, but I also don't think elegant's the right word.
Extravagant.
Yeah, let's go with that. It's a very extravagant model. But actually, when I look at the Eric Hansel one, it's a little bit classier to me. Still got a Telecaster pickup in the neck, which is super cool. Anyway, I don't want to sit and talk about this guitar all day long. My point was, I found it very interesting that when you try and find any info on this guitar, or at least people playing them and saying what they think of them, there aren't any, and that was kind of off-putting to me. That's of concern, maybe, but maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? No one knows what that guitar really plays like, because apparently no one bought one. We also have another leak though, and I know this is under embargo. This information is under embargo.
I think considering this has been leaked, it's
Well,
not so much. The rest that was going to happen.
It's important to remember that an embargo is what somebody agrees to in order to receive early coverage of something. So if you have a game that you're reviewing, there is a review embargo, and you agree to that embargo. You will not post your review of that game until the embargo lifts, because if you break that, you won't ever be given things early again. I have no embargo for this because I was not given any information on this early. So I'm more than happy to post this.
Yes, at the risk of falling out with some good friends of ours, I don't think we're going to have any problems. Totally honest, because look at this.
Well, also it might, as Derek from Rev said, maybe this is real, maybe it's not. maybe this isn't even real. But it seems that a new amp from Rev Amplification, of course, friends of the show, has leaked, and this is a G20. So, not all that much information that we can get from one picture, right?
Nope.
But it does say all your tube tones in one 9-pound head, unveiled at NAMM 2020. Play, record, perform, as we know how this works already based on the D20 that you can plug direct into your computer because it has the 2 notes torpedo embedded within it. Fully programmable channel switching tube amp with 2 notes technology built in Canada. There is no real mention on this of it being like a high gain version of the D20, but from people talking, including someone that posted a picture of the amp, like not this picture, but the actual amp.
Right.
It's a higher gain version of the D20, which is super cool. Super cool. I do feel really sorry for some people that saw this leak and immediately posted, "Man, I literally bought a D20 last week."
I know more than you.
What do you know? What do you know?
I'm not telling you.
Well, that's the difference, right? Because I know you have been talking to the people in question about this, whereas, I look at stuff like this, and I did send him a message and said, it seems there. Have you got a problem with a leak? I won't say what he said, but yeah. I don't know all that much about this, but I think it's super cool. I think it's exciting. I very, very nearly bought a D20 just 2 weeks ago.
Yes, you did. That was another part of the conversation I had, funnily enough.
But I've decided I'm going to buy a 740, which is the
we'll
bigger.
See.
You think I won't buy a 740?
We'll see.
Well, my logic with the D20 or now the G20 is, I don't need a small amp that's easy to record. I've got a Kemper for recording. I've got a 2 Notes Torpedo Live there. I can plug my amps into it. Wouldn't it be really, really nice, though, to have 2 different rev stacks behind us? When we're wanting to have a little jam in here, we can both plug into a high gain rev. And
what would you do with a high gain rev?
Make an arse of myself. That's what
so
I
would
do.
I. We'll have a good laugh.
Right, so let's move on.
Yes.
So
as usual, Levi has decided to prepare a show and not tell me anything that he's put on the list. So
not strictly true. To be fair, a lot of these are things that you had posted in, in the group.
That's good.
So, yeah,
right, so we're not going full Carl Pilkington then.
We're not gonna drop you in blind. To be completely honest, this is probably going to be a very short show because there's not all that much news. There is virtually nothing happening for multiple reasons. The main one being all of the main news sites that we get a lot of our news from or that we follow, they're all on holiday. So the stories that they are posting are just year retrospective things. These were our most popular stories of 2019, etc. And we're not overly interested in talking about stuff like that.
We already give enough shit throughout the year rather than going top 10 shitty comments Levi and I made 2019.
I make a lot of shitty comments. So but you know what? I did find this interesting. Slipknot and Tool are in the top 10 most Googled albums of 2019.
Of course they are. Tool made themselves super viral by being so ridiculously hard to be into unless you were actually a fan, and then went, fuck it, we'll just put everything super public. And Slipknot may as well be Madonna.
No, I agree with you. I do agree with you that if I were to pick 2 bands that are kind of from, our scene, if you like, that would be popular not outside of the scene, but, be massively popular, bands that people would be Googling, it definitely would be those 2 bands. But it does surprise me that this isn't Slipknot and Tool are the most Googled metal bands. This is Slipknot and Tool are in the 10 most Googled albums of 2019. So it's nice to know that, our chosen genre, or at least the genre that I pretend that I've chosen, or that I still listen to.
Wait, let's just take a wee step back here, right? I'm going to put this out here, and this is maybe me getting into the 2020 vibe, but fuck genres. You like music for what you like.
Okay.
If you might like a genre of music because you like all the music you've heard from that, and that's fine. But don't pigeonhole yourself. I'm trying my hardest not to do it these days. If I like something on the radio that's pop, cool. I like pop.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, obviously I agree with you fully. Like, I can't pigeonhole myself. I don't know what genre I'm interested in the most anymore. If I had to record an album tomorrow, I have no idea if I'd be making a heavy metal album or a jazz album. Like, I just don't know. What I can tell you is I absolutely wouldn't do an album that has, here's a metal song, here's a country song, here's a blues song,
That's not really an album. That's more a compilation.
That's look what I can do.
Yeah. That's showing off.
Yeah. Right, so let's just take a look at this
list.
I
mean, you could take a leaf out of K-Mac's book and just write a couple of songs in every single style and be fucking great at it. Dick.
Oh, your brother, he's just too talented.
He is. I'm just going to plug him shamelessly.
Yeah.
If anyone hasn't went out and bought his EP or pre-ordered the EP Imposter yet, it has dropped. It is fucking ridiculous. 6 tracks. Well worth supporting him, because I know he paid a lot of money to have it mixed and mastered properly and really put a lot of love into it. The lyrical content, he kind of shrugged it off and laughed about it, but it's fairly serious.
Oh, definitely.
And
when you watch Imposter, that's someone singing about being K-Mac.
Absolutely, right? It's everybody's felt imposter syndrome, but that's maybe I see it a lot more relatable, and maybe you do as well because you know him personally.
Mm-hmm.
But someone who's so humble, and I'm not saying that to blow smoke up his arse, Kieran doesn't see himself in any shape or form other than just being himself, just does his own thing. I can see why the things come out there. Not just that, other songs on the EP, the lyrical content's pretty deep, and it'd be easy to see it as just him writing things for the sake of fitting whatever genre he's writing the music into, or whatever you want, the sound, the aesthetic. I've never heard Kieran write any music, apart from stupid shit, where it hasn't been in some way, shape or form reflective of either a feeling or an experience of him.
Yes.
So
he is an artist in the truest sense of the word. When he makes
absolutely.
art, when he makes music, he is trying to express himself, which is nice, because a lot of
genuine.
people, it's easy to feel that a lot of people are going through the motions. Like, our fans or our label expects a new album, so we've got to get that new album done. I was talking to John Brown about this just recently, because he's due a new album with the new Monuments album.
Ooh.
And he's got his deadline from the label for when it's done, and he's like, man, it's really hard, like, having to force yourself to be creative.
Yes.
And he's like, how do you go about making sure you hit deadlines? And I'm like, honestly, John, it's very easy for me, because I don't have to be hugely creative. I cannot imagine the level of stress and pressure that goes with forcing yourself to be actually creative. My deadlines are all like, oh, got to get this transcription done, or
It's
I've
like
got a
being
book
told-
deadline.
Yeah, it's like a work deadline. It's not a you have to create something deadline.
Yeah.
Two things funny you mentioned Monuments. Have you seen the video that Mike Mallion, the drummer from Monuments, and I'm not sure the other person that did it, made for Kieran for Christmas?
No.
You know Kieran's got his video, that top 10 numbers?
Yes.
They've wrote a metal version, and the drums are all like incidental over the top of it, and so is the guitar.
Okay.
Levi,
Yeah, well,
I can't believe you've not seen this.
I saw that he uploaded it, and it was, my top 10 favourite numbers, but metal remix, because why not, yeah?
Exactly.
I just didn't click on it.
Mike from Monuments, and I'm not
Okay.
sure whoever else it was, so apologies to whoever else, but they made it
Right.
for him for Christmas, and it's tremendous.
That's cool. That's
But
cool.
just to go back to your point about that, and Brown's point as well, actually. Shout out to you, John. As I can see why he would struggle with that. Party Cannon have set themselves deadlines, and I don't do a massive amount of input when it comes to the writing process. Chris is pretty fluent in that. Like, Chris will send me a message one day, like, I've wrote 2 songs, here's both of them. And, like, he sends a Guitar Pro track, and it's like all the drums, the bass, both guitars, everything, like, pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to change this riff a wee bit, and I'm not sure about that. But, like, structurally,
Yeah.
an entire song.
Chris has a vision, like, and when that vision is there, he
Yeah.
writes it out.
Oh, that's it, man. He's like a death metal savant. But I can see how that'd be even more challenging, feeling like I've been given a deadline by somebody else, because we're imposing our own deadline on us. Like, we want to have an album recorded some point next year so we can get it out and push it. Maybe record a few of the tracks for the EP, re-recorded, and do some new tracks as well, and build it into an album. And the same veins of stuff I've done before. And even trying to learn the music and getting it right, taking it into the studio and going, it sounds amazing for how we've written it here, but putting that into a live context, sometimes it doesn't sound perfect.
Sure.
And then having to then reconsider that is hard. But credit where credit's due, like, being given a deadline by somebody else and building on that must be so hard.
Yeah. So, yeah, well done to Kieran for being able to do a good job of that.
Yes. Well done,
There's
Kieran.
also tabs coming, I hear.
Who would be doing them? Do you know any really good transcribers? I only know a couple of
I'm
wanks.
barely going to be doing anything on it in the grand scheme of things, because he's like, can you do all of these? I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, but it's going to take me loads of time, or I could just come and pick you up and you could come and sit in my studio and we could have the whole thing done in an hour. Let's just do that, yeah? So,
Right, what we really need to do is get John on board and get Kieran to do a video lesson set.
get him up on Riff Hard.
Can you imagine Kieran trying to do video lessons?
Yeah.
I would love that, but
What do you mean? Kieran's already done video lessons. They're fantastic.
you're true. He showed me how to sweep pick, that's for sure.
Right, while you're looking at whatever you're looking at, I'm just going to list off.
Yes.
These are the 10 most
Sorry.
Googled albums of 2019. Taylor Swift's Lover, Kanye West's Jesus is King, Tool, Fear Inoculum, Melanie Martinez, K12, Madonna's Madam X, Ed Sheeran's Number 6 Collaborations Project, Chris Brown's Indigo, Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind, Drake Care Package, Chance the Rapper, The Big Day, and Post Malone's Hollywood's Bleeding.
just one thing to interject in that, right?
Sure.
I don't know what this says about the same people or how these 10 are the most Googled of the year, right? But the fact that list has Chris Brown, who is a woman beater, he's an absolute piece of shit, and Drake, who preys on young women, and I mean under 16s, and has the creepiest friendships you want to call, and we're going to say allegedly here to avoid you and I getting sued, right? You've done enough this week. Why are you supporting these people? Chris Brown literally battered Rihanna.
Well, to be fair, because I love playing devil's advocate and standing up for people. These aren't album sales. Maybe people are wanting information on the album so they can find out who was involved in the album so they could send them dog shit in the mail. I'm sure that's not the case, but
I was going to say I'm not going to say that that's impossible, but it's improbable.
But you know what I mean? Like when we're looking at this list of who's involved in this, you see why I was saying I'm impressed that Tool and Slipknot are in it.
Oh no, totally.
It surprises me that like Lil Nas X isn't on that.
He's got one song.
Does he not have an album?
Well, he certainly doesn't have any songs that reach the same level as Old Town Road did,
Right.
and Matt, that I understand. I might be totally wrong, but maybe.
Or
I just mean, why are Chris Brown and Drake still releasing music? Why is Chris Brown not in jail?
well, I mean, how long would you go to? How long do you think people should go to jail for beating women? Eternity?
I wouldn't say eternity, but I certainly don't think he should have a viable music career where he's in the top 10 searched albums of the year.
Yeah,
Personally, I mean that's where
we've had this conversation many times with separating the art from the artist.
I can't separate Chris Brown from being a piece of shit. His music's not good either, but that's just my personal opinion.
You know what else surprises me that's not in there?
What?
The Witcher soundtrack. Have you seen Toss a Coin to Your Witcher?
No.
Oh man,
I've seen there's lots of memes about it.
There are lots of memes about it.
I never played any of the Witcher games.
Okay.
And as such, I didn't really give a fuck about when the TV programme came on. I've no doubt that it'll be fantastic. I think it's Henry Cavill that plays him, isn't it? And he looks tremendously like the character in The Witcher, whatever his name is. Right? I think...
The most impressive thing is actually his voice. He has an extremely gravelly voice in it, like Geralt does in the video games.
Brilliant.
And I listened to that. I'm like, I don't think Henry's doing that. I think they've gone to the effort of manipulating his voice to make it more gravelly.
But it's right.
It's right, yeah.
For what I understand as well, while we're sucking the Witcher TV show's dick, that the people who were involved in the actual graphic novels and the games are the ones who were in creative control of the TV show.
They are in creative control of the entire Witcher brand outside of books.
And I've heard it's fantastic because
are you aware of this, like the story behind that?
The lore? I don't really know.
No, I mean, when I say the lore, I mean the legal lore.
No.
About what's... So, okay. CD Projekt Red are the company that make the Witcher games. They purchased the rights to make Witcher games from the author for... I think it was they offered him either points on the game or a lump sum payment. Right. I could be totally wrong on the figures for this, but it was something stupid like $10,000 before they made the first game, and he took the $10,000. Very interestingly, though, in Polish law, if you make a business deal that turns out to be substantially against your favour, you can actually rectify that in law. So he actually sued them over the last few years because he made a bad business decision. I personally don't think that's fair. But, you know, it's interesting how laws are different from country to country.
Definitely. I
don't think they took advantage of him. I think they were a small company that looked at the situation and went, we can probably afford to give you $10,000 for the license for this game that we've never made and people aren't massively familiar with the books.
CD Projekt Red have always worked on kind of... cult games as well. My understanding is they did the Metro games, or not Metro, Stalker.
Did they do that?
Pretty sure they did. CD Projekt Red. They're based out of Russia, aren't they? Or
Poland.
Is it Poland? Sorry.
I don't think CD Projekt Red did Stalker, but essentially they own the rights to release, you know, video content, game content, board games, all of that type of thing on The Witcher. That lawsuit was settled, and they're on good terms with each other now. So that's nice to hear. Anyway,
that's what matters, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I'm not going to sit here and say that the TV show is fantastic. It's good.
Okay.
But I was watching it, and it's in episode 2 that this song "Toss a Coin for Your Witcher" happens.
They're doing Cyberpunk. Sorry, I totally interrupt.
They're doing Cyberpunk, yeah. Toss a Coin for Your Witcher. And it was playing, and I turned to Haley and went, "This is a really good piece of music. This is like a really, really good piece of music." And then 2 or 3 days later, I started seeing all of the love for it on Reddit, and I was like, see, I knew it. And then my first thought obviously was, well, I better upload a guitar lesson teaching people how to play it. And obviously I go to YouTube and there's like hundreds of guitar lessons on how to play it and all these wonderful fingerstyle arrangements of it. And I actually did film a full-length video teaching not the song. I mean, I did teach the song, but then I also taught like the analysis of the harmony and why the harmony works so well and how you would improvise melodies over it and stuff like that.
Look at you being like, right, well, I can't just show you how to play it, so I'm going to be the best at telling you why the song's good.
I'll have to Rick Beato it, right?
Good. Listen, if only there were more videos like Rick Beato's content, then the world would be a better place.
Rather
that
annoyingly,
man is fucking ridiculous.
The song is Toss a Coin to Witcher is in B flat minor, and it's easiest to teach it and play it with capo on the first fret. I did all of my video without the capo, so taught it as though it were in the key of A minor, and I completely forgot to make mention of that. So when I'd edited the video, I went, oh, fuck. I didn't mention that. So I couldn't in good conscience upload it, so I just deleted the whole video. So.
You're a fanny.
Anyway, yeah, we'll check that song out actually after the podcast. It's,
I'll go back to just my
go on.
my single point. CD Projekt Red. I remember them as a developer because they done Saints Row 2.
Did they?
Yes.
You keep naming all these games.
I just fucking Googled it.
Okay, fine. To be fair, you just say CD Projekt Red to me, and I just think Witcher.
Saints Row 2, not fucking whatever I said. Just Cause. I did say Saints Row.
You did say Saints Row, yeah.
Saints Row 2. Look, there you go.
Okay.
Prick.
I didn't play Witcher 1 or Witcher 2.
I had Witcher 2 and it was like a really limited edition version. I gave it to somebody, just like, do you want this?
Yeah. Witcher 3 was out for a very long time before I decided to finally give it a go type thing. And it took me a good 10 hours to get into it because for some reason I decided to play it on Death March mode, which is the hardest mode. So every single, like the tiniest little ghouls that come out of the swamps at the start of the game, they'd hit you once and you'd be dead.
You did that because you are you.
Well, I needed to platinum the game. So it was essentially like playing a massively open world Dark Souls game. But you know what? I actually fell in love with the game. I thought the game itself was great. I didn't dig into the story all that much. I found myself skipping a lot of cutscenes only because the game is so monumentally big and there's so many things. Like you've never seen a more fully realised open world than in that game. But the gameplay loop, the combat in it was very good.
I saw the map, and the map looked ridiculous. Like...
when you start getting all the question marks of like side quests, it is ridiculous how much time they put into making that game. So I'm glad they made a load of money on it.
Yes, deservedly. They obviously worked hard.
Right, so this is a story that you presented.
Yes.
This just made me laugh. I assumed this must have been The Onion.
It's not.
I still suspect it may well be. I'm just looking around to see if anything else.
It's a very clickbait-looky site, I know.
Yeah.
But
go on, do it.
Whether it's right or wrong, great story.
Very
regardless.
funny, yeah.
Yes, right? So this came from happymag.tv, which I assume is probably going to be like a DJ site and maybe even like a really, really high-profile one that you and I just don't aren't in the circle, so therefore don't know, right? You know, like Mixmag or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, the title of the story is "The Oldest Record Store in the World Just Banned Morrissey."
So I've read the story obviously, and I would be so much happier if the story just ended there.
Oh, that would be even better.
Because that would be hilarious. But yeah, continue.
The oldest record store in the world has now banned all of Morrissey's releases due to his controversial political beliefs. Sadly, not just banning Morrissey straight out.
But that's where I have to jump in here and go, well, I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel great about it because not only is Morrissey a wank, his music's terrible. In my opinion.
That's the reason you ban someone. Like, we don't want to sell your music because we think it's garbage. Not silencing, but, sort of taking out, doling out punishment or some sort of trying to get back at someone because their political beliefs seems like such a good idea when you feel you have the moral high ground. But one day you're going to stop looking down at people. You're going to realise there's someone that's looking down on you and they're going to silence you as well. That's how censorship kind of works. Like, we should never be looking to censor people for their political beliefs. They should be making more of a point of explaining why Morrissey is an idiot and why he has bad, poorly held beliefs and ideas, rather than because now Morrissey gets to play victim and Morrissey's fans get to go, oh look, they're scared of Morrissey's ideas. Well, that doesn't help anyone. That's how I feel about it.
No one is scared of a man who literally refused to play a gig because he sold burgers in the venue. He is the worst human. The worst human.
Yeah.
Right? For many reasons. I mean, his political views besides, and I don't disagree with your point.
Yeah.
You and I have had these conversations where you've baited me into a very obvious trap, and I've went straight in with, no, but blah, blah, and you're like, no, but here. And like, you just say a couple of sentences before I know it, I'm like, you've tied me in a logic fucking knot, you bastard. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right? So this record store is in Wales, in Cardiff. This is called Spillers Records. And as a result of Morrissey's support of a right-wing extremist party, they've made the decision to no longer carry his music. The store was established in 1894. 1894! And is the city's main spot for purchasing concert tickets and hosting artist signings and in-store gigs. I think, just as a complete byline of this conversation, that's fantastic, because where else have you got, like, I can't think of any other, I didn't know about this, but I can't think of any other off the top of my head places that have clearly been preserved by people who understand the value of it. And it's not just been turned into, I mean, I know FOP in Glasgow's shutting down, which is another heartbreaker, but...
Oh, it's like, a bad example, but Amoeba Music in Hollywood. Amoeba is like... Have you ever seen the film Tower Records?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's based on like Amoeba Music.
Okay.
It's, just the iconic spot on Hollywood or Sunset. Every time I'm sure you've probably been there. Actually,
you know what? I can picture it because I'm pretty sure I stood outside it when I was in
massive records store.
It's on a lot of album covers.
Hmm?
It's on a lot of album covers.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
I think at least one or two quite famous ones.
Yeah.
REM maybe.
But I'm pretty sure it's not there anymore. It's certainly it was going. It was going away. So it's nice to see a community. It's 1894. That's just unbelievable how long that has been going for. And yeah, the fact that it's still a cornerstone of the community. But yeah, the further information, of course, is that the Smiths frontman has recently appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon wearing a pin badge bearing the logo of For Britain, a political party founded by anti-Islam activist Anne-Marie Waters. He's also been seen wearing the pin during his New York residency. I mean, Jimmy Fallon didn't ban him. Probably best to give him a platform and
Jimmy Fallon also
make him
doesn't
look
stay
stupid.
in the UK. Jimmy Fallon doesn't also stay in the UK.
Well, I didn't see the relevance.
I do. I mean, we kind of half-heartedly mock and joke about the political system and politicians of America when we talk about them, but there's a much more ingrained seriousness when you're talking about politicians in the UK, even if it's the same topic. And I would think it'd be much the same if the roles were reversed. So maybe Jimmy Fallon didn't understand that the name of the party doesn't necessarily mean they're for Britain, but they're actually more extremist than that.
I hear what you're saying, but
also, why would Jimmy Fallon want to upset one of his guests?
But it got to the point where he was a guest because people don't like the idea of just deplatforming people because they have bad ideas.
Partially that, but I think more so...
I mean, he's a vegan. They let him on for that.
And they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
No. But my point more so was that I think there's a bit of a detachment between America and Britain. Same as if you went to somewhere outside of the UK and you unless somebody knew the genuine affiliations of that party or the pin or whatever logo you're holding, then they wouldn't probably take it serious. Sure. Like, it's not the same as having a swastika in your shirt. Sure. But if you went somewhere, people know what that generally means. Yep. And therefore have that, wait a minute.
Could you spot a For Britain pin?
I couldn't, no.
No. Can you tell me anything about the political party founded by anti-Islam activist Anne-Marie Waters?
No.
Are they a serious political party? Are they someone that we could have voted for in the general election?
There's probably not anybody up here that would sit for a post, but that's not the point.
I just don't see it. Like, you wouldn't throw him off the Jimmy Fallon show, and you also wouldn't have stopped selling his records because of it. Because in the grand scheme of things, you know what this has done? It's just drawn loads of more attention to For Britain.
More so to Morrissey, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, the comment made by the record store owner, Ashley Todd, was, "I'm saddened but ultimately not surprised that Spillers is unable to stock Morrissey's releases any longer. I only wished I'd done it sooner."
I don't like. Of course, I'm also very supportive of the idea of private businesses able to make decisions that suit private businesses. No one should be made to carry records. I would look at it and say, clearly you have an issue of Morrissey's ideology. I don't think that's the best way of going and dealing with it. But those two statements seem to contradict each other. I'm saddened, but ultimately not surprised that Spillers is unable to stock Morrissey's releases any longer. Then immediately goes on to say, I only wish that I'd done it sooner. What?
You don't know that he's not had some outside influence. His staff might have said, we're off. There might be other groups who have said locally, like, we can't support you if you don't support this. You don't know.
I would be amazed if that were the case, honestly.
Well,
this seems it's such a weird tiny, and I'm going to segue this into another weird tiny story.
Yep.
That just got blown up into nothing from something that was rather insignificant into suddenly something that everybody wants to talk about.
Yes.
Did you see this? Green Day donate $2,000 to help cover Denny's hardcore show damages.
I did, and how quickly you swap for that is just how quickly I would like everybody to swap talking about Morrissey to not even remember it exists. Thank you.
I agree with you.
I did see this. I saw there was a hardcore show in a Denny's and one of the lights got broken or something. And
since when were Denny's putting gigs on? I assume
there was a venue in Glasgow in America that used to be a Denny's and it was still fitted out the same. And there was a video going about a few years ago that was viral. I think it was the band Portals who were doing it.
Okay,
it was only about 10 seconds long, but it's essentially this like extremely heavy band, the really slow build up to a big breakdown, and the vocalist just goes, "What the fuck is up, Denny's?" And it was really funny, right? Because it was clearly like, I mean, it used to. I think it used to be a Denny's. If it might have actually been one at the time.
Right, okay.
Anyway, this has happened. For what I saw, that for the original story was that the band or the members had put this show, had taken full responsibility and apologised. Like, it wasn't an intended thing. We didn't mean for any damage to happen. We'll crowdfund and we'll find a way to pay for it.
Yep. And
then I heard that Green Day had stepped up.
Yeah,
pretty badass.
It's pretty badass. It's funny. We'll talk about Jared Dines later and the charity thing he done, and briefly talk about like Chapman and charity stuff. I don't believe in charity shaming. I don't believe in charity shaming. I don't think that there's no causes that you can give money to that people should be jumping in and going, well, you shouldn't. There are much better uses of your money. Objectively, we could look at Green Day, a multi-million dollar a band worth many millions of dollars donating such a small amount to such an insignificant cause, but it's good. It's sending some good out into the world. There was an individual, a 17-year-old that found themselves in some sort of legal trouble because of poor decisions that they've made, essentially trying to promote live music and make that a thing. So it does please me that Green Day got involved and said, yeah, okay, you need some money. Here you go.
Just to go back to your point, were people making a fuss about the fact that Green Day donated money but saying that it wasn't enough?
No, not at all. Okay. Not at all.
I'm glad you say that, because I know that for what I'm reading here,
sure,
that the damages are $1,800.
Yep.
They'd already had some form of money raised, and Green Day just went, well, there's $2,000.
Yes.
Like, if that goes towards paying for that and then helping those bands have another venue or have money to put down for, like, as a deposit for venues in case anything happens, or
it's just
whatever.
So easy.
It's a fucking good thing.
Absolutely, but it is so easy if you're a negative person. It's so easy to look at Green Day donating $2,000 to this situation and saying, "Well, that money would have been better going to a cancer charity," and that's a cancerous attitude.
That kind of attitude is held by the same kind of people that film themselves giving homeless people food for Greggs and putting it on YouTube.
100%. Yeah.
Fuck you. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Hey bro, I got the scratch card. It's got $1,000 on it. You have it. Yeah. Look, I made this guy's day. Yeah. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. Honestly,
it's not your pet.
Yeah. Honestly, that like self-promotion out of charity things, that does irk me considerably. I remember that episode of there's an episode of Friends where Phoebe's talking about doing a selfless good deed, trying to find a selfless good deed, and it's very, very difficult to do a genuinely selfless good deed.
I don't think there's such a thing. I think in all good deeds you'll get something in return, whether it's morally or otherwise. I don't think there's any such thing as pure altruism.
Yes,
personally,
I actually agree with you. Like, my point is, I give to charity too, right? don't want to make a song and dance about it. And I just recently, there was a situation that, and I'll tell it off camera because it's not, that's exactly the point, right?
Yeah, get you.
Where I went out of my way to help a complete stranger. And when that happens, it's just so 2019 to make a song and dance about it. And it just shouldn't be. There was a kid, he was struggling because he was trying to promote live music. Green Day gave him some money. We should be looking at that again. Awesome.
Yes, well done.
Well done.
We all know that you turned your back on being punk, but at least you're doing something good.
Well, we'll use that as a way to segue into the Jared Dines story, right? So
right, let's do it.
The reason I'm talking, that may have happened to Green Day. People may have looked at the Green Day situation and said, you could have given your money to a better cause. That has happened to Jared Dines, not on a massive scale.
But
right?
fuck those people regardless.
Yeah. So the story is Jared Dines raised $80,000 and then gave that money to kids to spend at a guitar store. And there were a bunch of kids, and all of them had a $750 budget essentially, and they all went in and they got to pick a guitar, and you know
that's ridiculous. That's amazing. Like, sorry to interrupt you there.
Sure.
It was jumping off my tongue. Like, I don't know Jared Dines. I'm not massive on his content. There's not really any YouTubers that I vehemently follow, to be honest. But for any one of them to donate their own time, never mind anything else, to try and help out people who are less fortunate than him, whether he's been blessed in life from birth or whether he's found himself lucky because he's worked hard, or it doesn't matter. It's still a fucking good act. And people giving him shit because the people who bid on the guitar that he was selling, remember the Gent 2018, the Ormsby guitar that he was selling on eBay, and Stevie T was doing the same with his guitar. Like, people shitting on them, like, you thought you were going to get money. Like, the guy's trying to do something really good. He spent a lot of money getting something that he's got some pleasure from. He's tried to auction off at the highest bid, literally just to give the money away, and you're shitting on that.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I understand. It is so easy to look at this and say, well, $80,000 could have done a lot of good. And in the grand scheme of things, guitars are lovely luxuries, and I'm glad that I own lots of them, right? I could easily look at this and say, well, couldn't you have helped the homeless? Helping the homeless, probably a better cause than helping kids get guitars, right? I can see that as an argument, but also at the same time, it's still a good deed.
It's not just that, like,
doing good deeds is good.
See that
well done, Jared. Have you watched this video?
No, 100%. You're right. Good deeds are good deeds, and also, just to go back, like, I don't think Jared's put these videos or made the attention towards his cause for any other reason to try and build more hype round about it, to get more money, to do more good. He hasn't been doing it like, shower me with praise. Again, I don't know much of his content, maybe he has, but I don't think that, because he would have been called down in a fucking hail of fire and Levi.
Yeah.
And like,
Jared's a pretty decent guy, to be honest. Like, Jared is a huge YouTuber. He has 2.6 million subscribers. He's a fucking big deal. And the fact that I've been able to message him on Instagram and have a back and forth with him, and he will make that time to help me out and give me advice, that's the same thing that I always try and do. People reach out to me and ask me for advice all the time. Strangers hit me up on Facebook today. They asked for my advice on quality of their home recordings, and is it acceptable to release things on iTunes if they're not of the top quality. And I gave him advice on that. And today he was like, would you mind? Would you have 2 minutes to just take a listen to the track and let me know if it's, what's the quality like on it? And yeah, I'm happy to do that, because again, trying to do good things for people, just give it out. So Jared, really decent guy, and I would recommend you watch this video. It's touching, and the biggest, most impressive thing with Jared is he does the thing that I would struggle to do. If we had to flip this situation and I was in his shoes, where I stood up in front of a bunch of parents and kids and gave a speech about, the good that we're trying to do and trying to help people out and praising the guitar store and all of that stuff, and then having to interact with the parents afterwards and then interact with the kids, he is not awkward in the slightest. He looks in his element. He looks like he's so happy to be talking to these people. And the most touching moment of this, there's I left a comment so I can Kaya, her name was. There's a great little clip in this where he's just like literally wandering over to the kids that are playing the guitars, and he sits down to have little jams with them. And there's this young girl, she probably knows 2 chords, right? And she's just strumming away at these chords, and then Jared has a little jam with her, right? She can't do much. But she plays a little bit. She plays like 4 bars, and Jared's jamming over the top of it. And then she stops. And he stops and encourages her and says, no, keep going. That was awesome. That was great. You keep going. You keep doing your thing. I'm having a good time. And that's the 80,000 is irrelevant. Like the fact that someone as big as Jared can take time out of his day to inspire young people like that, that's a good thing. That makes me really happy.
Absolutely.
That pleases me. Well done, Jared.
Totally. It's funny you say that. I've got a wee lump in my throat thinking about that because I'm being serious, right? When I think about when I started playing guitar and getting into the music community, as you will say, and you know yourself, there's so many people that not even they doubt you, they just want to call you out and put you down and give you shit. And
I mean, that's what people say about me.
but that's what, well, I mean, it's different having criticism about things, but there's just people who will shit in your dreams for the sake of shitting on them, right?
Yeah.
And it happens. And it's nice to know that someone who has the influence and the power to do that, or to even just ignore people who are at the start, that he's passing on, obviously, the value of what he sees. He understands not just what he's gained from his music career, but the value of it in terms of like its intrinsic value to him, its emotional value, sentimental value, and passing that on. And that's the kind of the way I see about like guitars and music myself. I know it sounds stupid and corny and whatever, blah blah blah, right? But
romantic.
Maybe it is rose tinted glasses. I would take that, right? There's so much more for me and what it's done for me in my life and my personality and my confidence in playing guitar and learning music than just having an instrument to play.
Yep.
And I don't know anybody else who plays any other instrument that would say different, or certainly not have some iteration of this has been a tool not only for me to learn music and understand music, but to maybe understand myself or understand the world in a better way, or to have made friends or whatever. And exactly as you said, good guy, Jared. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, man.
Yeah, I look at like the kids in this, and none of them look like they're struggling to get a meal. They look well fed. They're all wearing reasonable clothes, but you just don't know how much you could potentially change someone's life just by giving them an instrument and giving them your time and your approval. And yeah, I think that's good. And yeah, sure, he could have spent £80,000 feeding the homeless. Could have done. Could have helped the dog charity or whatever. But
it's a slippery slope. He could have done a million different things.
Yeah,
he could use that seed funding to build an orphanage.
Yeah.
He's still doing good. He's still putting value into the world.
Yeah. So, bravo, Jared. Well done. Well done.
Thumbs up for the guitar souls.
Right.
Not very often you get that, so consider that an epic achievement.
Yeah, cool. Right. This was another story that... oh, that's a bad cough. Another story that you posted. Live Nation sees tickets as an incredible bargain with room for price increase.
See, this was a conversation I saw a friend of mine who works in the music industry as a promoter posting about, and people were somehow defending the comments from Live Nation. I'll tell you the story first, right? Sure. So this came from altpress.com. And as Levi said, Live Nation sees tickets as an incredible bargain with room for price increase. Price increases would also be beneficial for the company's bottom line, is what was said by the company. So I'll just read some of the story just now. As if going to concerts wasn't expensive enough, Live Nation and Ticketmaster say tickets are still too cheap and attendees would benefit if they cost more. According to Bloomberg, ticket prices currently average about $96.17 for worldwide tours.
Under no circumstances will I ever pay that much for a gig ticket. I will never, ever fucking do it. I don't care who tours. I do not give a shit who I'm trying to think who could... someone could come back from the fucking dead and tour the world. My favourite guitar player, I don't know who that is, could come back from the dead and tour the world, right? I don't care if Nirvana reform with Kurt Cobain. I don't like Nirvana, but I don't care, right? No.
What if Kiss come?
No, just no. $96. That's a fucking ridiculous amount of money, and I don't mind paying a lot of money to go and see a show. But Ticketmaster are making a fucking fortune out of that. It's not going in the band's pocket.
Go further.
Sorry,
so it's not. It gets worse. Is my point. Have you read this?
No, I didn't read it. I read the title and went, this sounds funny.
Even better, right?
Because I'm a professional.
Do you mind reading, and I'll find the comment thread and I'll tell you how it went.
So, per Market Watch, Live Nation Entertainment Inc. Chief Executive Michael Rapino told investors that concert tickets are still an incredible bargain and a huge opportunity for our bottom line. Ticketmaster President Joe Berchtold, agreed with Rapino, saying that the vast majority of shows are very reasonably priced for fans. Live Nation argues that lower ticket prices could actually hurt the consumer in the long run because scalpers will have an easier time buying and reselling them for much higher costs. I want to pause there.
Mm-hmm.
There is truth to that, but the solution to that is you need to work out more effective ways to deal with scalpers. It's not to eat into their margins.
Certainly not at the cost of the fucking...
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
actual
what he's
customer.
essentially saying there is, I mean, scalpers, people are going to pay $100 for a ticket regardless of whether or not we charge $100 for them. What we need to do is we need to price the scalpers out of the market.
Exactly. Not protect the customer.
Yeah.
What do you mean we're selling tickets for $40 and they're getting $100 at the door?
Yeah.
I want that $60 in my pocket so I can afford a third Golden Jet.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yes.
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
Berchtold also added that the reason tickets are so cheap is that the artists don't know how much money resellers are making. I mean,
No.
they do. Artists are very aware of it. They hate it. And funnily enough, they feel that it's the people that sell and distribute the tickets need to come up with a solution to protect those tickets so they go to fans and so that those tickets are then not sold on for massive profits.
Unless the band's Metallica.
Unless that's Metallica, yeah.
Not Metallica, I know it was the agent involved anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I'd throw that in there.
So they're being confronted with the reality that it's very often not the fans benefiting from that lower price, he says. We think artists have the rights to the full economics of what they do.
That's why you don't give them as much money as they should get at the moment.
It's like I see what they're saying again, and there's truth in it. Like that, lowering ticket prices doesn't benefit the fans; it does benefit the touts. Cool, but increasing ticket prices
Doesn't
hurts
benefit
the
the fans.
touts, but hurts the fans. It definitely hurts the fans. The only way that you could ever try and convince me that higher ticket prices benefits fans is if more money goes in the band's pocket, which can then go on to, you know, increasing the quality of the show,
Yes.
or how often they're touring and how many stops they're making. That I can get on board with, or like a merchandising subsidy or whatever. Like that I can get on board with.
So
but
say-
when you're
say
just
tickets-
taking more money from me, so a tout can't make it.
Yeah. So Ticketmaster want 25 quid for a ticket, but if you bought it directly from the band, it'd be 30. I reckon most people would pay the 30 straight to the band because they know the
100%.
money's going in their pocket.
100%.
Brilliant. They're actually getting the money that's coming there. I mean, maybe I'm being presumptuous and idealistic about the people who are going to gigs because not everybody has that thought. Not everybody thinks the music industry is about the top 10 layers making money and then the people who are actually doing the work not getting a lot.
That's the way the music industry has always been, Mike.
That's the way every business is, but some people don't see it that way because it's you know what it's like working in the music industry, never mind being an artist.
Yeah.
You know that it's like, we can't pay you, but you'll get exposure.
Yeah.
Think about how good it would be for your portfolio.
Oh, mate.
People do not have value on the work that you put in. It's like having a time-served, 40 years experienced engineer and then going, but you only done that, so I'm only paying you this. No, you're paying for my experience as well. You're paying for all the tools that I brought. You're paying for all the years of hard work I got to walk in to go, that's an easy fix.
Yep.
There you go.
You're paying for my student loan because that was money that I had to pay out to put myself in a position
All of that stuff.
to be able to do what I'm doing now. Did you see that tweet that was doing the rounds of the person offering exposure for YouTube work? Needed some banners for their YouTube channel and some animations for the start of their videos, etc. They sent this out to someone and said, you know, this is what I need. It could be a great opportunity for you. $50. And the person responded and said, $50 isn't even close. You'd be looking at $30 to $40 per animation. You know, plus I'm very busy. I can't get things done in the next week. And then the YouTuber responded with, no, I think you've misunderstood me. You pay me $50 for the opportunity. This would be a great opportunity for your exposure, and you can pay me for it.
Right, so I'm going to set up a Fiverr and I'm going to have people pay me money so they can do work for me.
Yeah.
It's the only functioning dynamic that would ever work in that I can think of in a real life scenario
I know what you're going to say.
is if you're a dominatrix.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Because of the story I told you.
Yeah, because that's how you make your living.
I wish I was a dominatrix, man.
Yeah.
Not discrediting that it must be fucking hard work, but a story of not someone I know, but let's say a friend of a friend, who is a dominatrix, has a client who will pay her money to come to her house and tidy her flat.
Fantastic.
I mean, no doubt the rest of the work and whatever other clients she needs to deal with and the stuff she deals with must be hard, as well as her own admin and financial upkeep, blah, 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 as well as personal PR and staying on top of all that stuff. But that's a fantastic gig.
I'm going to try this myself next week. My cleaner's going to show up and he'll be like, Andreen, how would you feel about you paying me to be here? And not just paying me like how much I pay you, but like a lot more.
Yeah, but listen, right? Financial dominations are really, really common in kink. Are you sure you don't have it?
I was working out what I wanted to do there. First I looked horrified, and then I wanted to look over lovingly into your eyes because I know that will get screen captured. Right.
We'll save that for another time.
Have you got these comments?
Yes. So, you know Lynn that you mentioned that you met at Devon Townsend? She posted this and she'd said, I think this move would just price a lot of genuine fans out of the market. In comes one of her friends who was just rattling on, right? Like rattling on, almost in defence of it, as if like it's always going to happen, it'll never change, they're not to blame. And don't get me wrong, a few of his points were fairly eloquent. Anyway, the only comment I left, I left two comments. My comment that I left on the article was the same company that was caught running its own scalping side gig, fuck Ticketmaster, right? We've covered this, hence why I made the comment about Metallica.
Yep.
Metallica's agent / whoever was responsible for their account with Ticketmaster, as anyone that's listened or watched before might remember, was secretly recorded talking about putting some of those tickets aside and making money from them. So literally scalping directly, which is fucking shocking. Anyway,
shocking.
I'm not going to name this person, but they commented back saying, they weren't caught. They set up Get Me In as a regulated and reliable alternative to Viagogo, which is the worst offender for fans not receiving legitimate tickets. They shut down Get Me In and Seatwave, which they bought, a couple of years, must be ago, and offered a new resale program for legitimate fans who can no longer attend. They also have a program called Verified Fan, which only allows pre-sale access to fans who have been verified by checking their account activity.
Do you know what my response to that is? Right? If that's the case, then there's no reason to increase ticket prices, is there? Because you no longer need to price scalpers out of the market.
If those measures worked, then yes. And my reply was just points taken into consideration. They're still as guilty as the rest. There's no reason to see scalpers overcharge people who are desperate to see artists and think, let's just raise ticket prices.
Yeah, it just, like, the reason people pay scalpers more is because they really, really want the thing. And there's virtually no limit. That's how supply and demand works, right? Like, if you're not going to price scalpers out of the market, you simply will not do it. You will put ticket prices up to $200. Cool. And they'll all sell.
Yep.
Because people want to go. But then some people will be like, I missed my opportunity to go. I mean, I'd be willing to pay $220.
You're right. All you're doing at that point is setting a new benchmark for the average price.
Yeah.
Which just, again, you're only pricing the genuine fans who don't have that amount of expendable income out of the market, which only punishes ticket buyers.
Yep.
Right. So this person that was arguing back with me left another comment saying, the industry tried to get the government to do something about this 10 years ago. Government spent $1 million of taxpayers' money looking into it and came back saying basically you're on your own. The revenue from tickets is broken down into a lot of parts, including PRS, which has risen from 3% to 4.2% in the last 18 months. This will add to ticket price increases. Also, PRS will be pushing for ticket prices to rise as they don't get their 4.2% on resold prices, only the face value.
Mike.
So the problem here is,
what does this person do for a living?
Clearly works for Ticketmaster.
They work in this industry, right?
Absolutely.
No one
Scalping
knows who
bastards.
PRS. We talk about PRS on the show and people think we're talking about Paul Reed Smith, not the Performance Rights Society, right?
Oh no, this is someone who's making arguments.
I can tell you how PRS works, right? Because I have a degree and part of that was music business. In fact, I know people that work for PRS, okay? I can't tell you the percentages that they're
Oh no,
making on things.
I know. My point is, this person was on this conversation, dropping all these hot facts as if like, no, you're wrong for thinking that. Like, no, mate, you're wrong. You are seeing the business's interests in making money over the common sense, real world view of people can afford to spend 50 quid a ticket. Scalpers are getting them, and other people who are desperate to pay £200 because their Wayne or their sister wanted a ticket to fucking, I don't know, Danny Minogue.
Yeah.
And it's the only way they ever got to see them or whatever, right? Like, no. The answer isn't, well, we'll make the tickets £200 for everybody.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Go away. It's stupid.
Yeah. It's simply like we're going to see The Lion King, not the film, but the musical, right?
Mm-hmm.
With third row.
Only musical I've been to.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah. Mike, all musicals are tremendous. We should have a Guitar Souls musical club where we just go see musicals.
Well, I'm going to see
I'm
one
yet
soon.
to see a single musical that I haven't thoroughly enjoyed.
I've no doubt I'd be the same.
Yeah. So we're off to see The Lion King. About £85 a ticket. That's just silly money.
It's a lot of money. You're right.
Silly money. But having said that, I also look at what's involved in a musical in terms of the cast, all the musicians. Like, they're expensive to put on.
Absolutely.
I still feel like it's way too expensive for something like that. I don't see it. This is ludicrous. Of course it's ludicrous. Fucking these people, mate. I'm going to move on.
But see, the thing is, you're not saying 85 quid is ludicrous in terms of the value of what you're getting back. It's just a lot of money to part with.
Yeah. Well,
You're not saying these people don't deserve to be financially compensated in a fair way. These people shouldn't be making a career. I should be getting the ticket for £20.
Yeah,
You're just saying £85 is a lot of money to ask people. And that's not because you don't see the value in that. It's because in the current economic climate, £85 to have just for one ticket is a lot to put out.
mate, that's more than a day's wages for someone on minimum wage.
Yes.
That's so much money. And this was always been the problem with the arts, right? They price the common man out. You know, classical music and musicals, actually just musicals in general, they absolutely price the common man out. Mm-hmm. If you come from a poor background like I did, I didn't get to see my first musical till I was in my 20s. Of course I didn't. And that's ridiculous. I should have had easy access to that because it might have been something that would then immediately inspire me to with my direction that I go in life. It might have meant that I went in a different, I might have worked in theatre in some way, shape or form. But that would never have even crossed my mind because it was something that I never could have experienced.
If you're not experienced to the arts, then you never know if it's for you. You never know if that creative spark is in you. You're right.
And I don't want to price my kids out of being able to go and see live music. I want live music to be everywhere because live music is wonderful. And the idea of making live music something that only people with a lot of money can experience is absolutely shocking because I would bet all my money, which isn't much right now, but I would bet all my money, right? All the money I have and some picks. I'll bet my picks. There we go.
No, not the picks.
That if you look at all of the bands in the world, the percentage of those that started with no money, that were poor in the beginning, will be obscenely high.
Of course it will.
Rich people don't tend to make music. In fact, when you look at the history of where musicians were making money hundreds of years ago, it was from rich people that would patronage. They would patronize musicians. Mm-hmm. That's how that worked. Rich people didn't go into music.
Mm-hmm. Don't really hear any historic stories of musicians who did well who weren't like bards or not jesters, but that idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people who were clearly brought in as entertainment because someone rich went, cool, there's value to that, and I've got expendable income, I don't care. Bang, there you go. You're right.
Right, let's keep going. So we were meant to talk about this last time. We'll do this in 60 seconds because it's not something I really care about.
Speaking of, we'll segue it with, speaking of expendable income, I'm guessing John Frusciante's heroin holiday's up because he's now joining back in with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah. Josh Klinghoffer has been launched from the band again. Was he in? And no, it wasn't. It was Dave Navarro that was in last time.
Yeah.
It was Mark Bell that introduced me to the terminology when he's talking about John Frusciante. It must be being a heroin holiday again. And we did speak about this last time, and I let you hear some of John Frusciante's crazy solo music.
Yeah.
Like, it might not have been heroin, but I think he was definitely away rattling some drugs.
Yeah.
Having a good psychedelic time.
I mean, I'm glad that it's not a band I really care for. I played a lot of their music when I was younger because I knew other musicians that were really into their music.
Oh, aye.
So I'm familiar with a lot of their
They're
early
a gateway
music.
band.
Yeah.
They are?
Um,
Nirvana's a gateway band into being kind of into grunge or punk or post-rock. Metallica's your gateway band into metal. Red Hot Chili Peppers is your gateway band into playing a Strat.
Yeah. Have I ever? Yeah, I have owned a Strat. It's your fault, John. So
you're a bad man, John.
I played Red Hot Chili Peppers covers with my BC Rich Mick Thompson, right? So I know what I'm doing. Always taking this thing seriously.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously John Frusciante is an incredibly important member in the history of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that he's back in the fold. But I don't care. I just don't care. He recorded what I think is widely regarded as one of the worst guitar solos of all time. Mind the solo on Californication?
Mm-hmm.
I remember learning that when I was a kid and just being like, oh, I'm so glad. In fact, my first ever proper guitar lesson I ever had, I took in the tab book for Californication into a lesson, and the teacher, who was a classical guitar teacher, I wanted to learn to play Scar Tissue, right? So the classical teacher helped me sit and understand the notation, and he was trying to I'm like, mate, I know this song, I know how it sounds, right? Just help me piece this all together. And he's like, well, you need to play the rhythm exactly as it's written. So when it comes to the strumming part in the chorus, I couldn't just imitate what I'd heard on the record. I had to play exactly as written. Dun dun da 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 da. Sucked all the fun out of music. All of the fun out of music. But the Californication solo, that's one that after you've learned, you look back on 10 years later and you go,
you know what? I'm not going to disagree with you, but what I'm going to say to add to your point is I can't think of any solos that John Frusciante's done that sound amazing. Can't Stop is not great. I mean, it's maybe the best of a bad bunch, and it's not great.
yeah.
But you don't know John Frusciante as, oh, he's a fucking incredible solo player. He's not. He's a guy that writes cool, soulful music that catches you.
Yeah.
And whether he plays a solo that's fucking terrible with out-tuned bends and a fucking horrendous tone, it's about the texture of the music for him, I think.
I agree with you on that, and I would never pick on the Can't Stop solo, right? Because it does serve an awesome purpose in that song. It does something to the song, right? The guitar solo in that is short. The guitar solo in Californication is long. That is a long ass solo. Also thinking back to that album and Scar Tissue, that was my introduction to slide guitar.
Oh, right,
there's 3 slide solos.
You're right.
And it says in the book, with slide, I just assumed that meant you just played your finger and you just did the slides. And I learned to play that solo just fretting it and sliding my finger around, and never really understood why it didn't sound like the recording. But I know now. So
there's no harm in that.
Right.
No harm in that at all.
I don't care about that. I don't think anyone else really cares about that.
I'll be interested to see what happens if good music comes out after it. I don't think positively or negatively whether it's going to be great or not. But there have been times where I've heard songs and guitar parts that John Frusciante's written that shouldn't be great
guitar parts
and are amazing.
Yeah. I learning Funky Monks when I was a kid.
Suck My Kiss.
Yeah. He's definitely got some really cool rhythm stuff, and that's
totally
funky. So you'd expect that. Funky guys tend to have some funky parts. Right. So you ready to be dropped in it with my it's prepared. You know how you hate being put on the spot?
I love being put on the spot.
I'm going to give you the ultimate being put on the spot moment, right?
Okay.
I thought about this myself and I can't give it an answer because it's such a difficult question. You know what it's going to be. We are getting towards the end of a decade.
Right.
What the hell has been the best albums of the last decade? What's the best album that's been released in the last decade? It's such a long period of time.
Yes.
You cannot possibly remember the things that have come out in the last decade.
How do you quantify that? How do you quantify that?
Well,
do I get how many do I get to put on a list, or
100?
Do I have to pick one?
I don't know. It's really, I guess I'm kind of poking fun to a degree, at all of the people that are running these types of stories on their websites.
You're essentially
because-
just taking the piss out of BuzzFeed.
Yeah, but we're also going to look at Loudwire, who have done the 66 best metal albums of the decade and the 66 best rock albums of the decade.
Why 66?
Well, it's close to 666, but I'm sure they probably couldn't manage 666 albums. But that's it. You probably could manage 666 albums because a decade is a really, really long period of time.
6.6 albums a year?
Yeah. I think when you think back to our album club, we've talked about tons of albums in there that could all be considered like albums of the decade for me. I would have to talk about like that Casey Roberts album. Like, to me, I love that album. I will never stop loving that album. I would have to talk about
Maps in Non-Existent Places?
Yeah, but again, it's a decade, so it's like, which Thank You Scientist album is the best album?
Okay, right. I get what you're saying.
It becomes so difficult. So yeah, I'm gonna let that sit with you. What's the best?
You want my real answer?
Yeah, go for it.
There is no best.
Oh,
There is no best. There are just constant evolving experiences
yes,
that help to mould
right.
your understanding,
Yep.
your phrasing, not your phrasing, your understanding, your
I love the way
impression
that
of the world.
you for people that are listening and not watching, Mike is holding his hands together in prayer at that point because he's giving some sort of sermon to us.
I'm trying
in that
to.
wonderful Guitar Soul shirt. I should.
I'm
point out.
meditating. All right.
Well, I was going to say, mate, we're journalists in 2019. We're actually 2020 now, so that's not an option. What we have to do is give a list. It has to be a list.
I'm going to tell Nancy I'm a journalist and she'll slap me. No, you're not.
I mean,
Heathen!
You absolutely are a journalist now because you're breaking news stories.
Journal.
Right. So, okay. Well, just to get
As
us
a
warmed
journalist,
up,
what I'm going to say is fuck the Scottish Sun.
just to get us
fuck the
warmed
Sun, not
up,
Scottish Sun.
I am not going to go through all 66 albums on Loudwire.
Yes.
I've just got the top 10 onwards for the metal and
Okay.
the rock. Though I did find it very interesting that they put Ghost in at number 11 on the metal album.
Why just ghost this full list?
Ghost are so a rock band, you know?
I don't think they're a good band. But that, you know what? I haven't listened to a lot of their stuff. They
Sure.
might have some great songs. I just don't get the lore with them. It doesn't click with me. And that's fine. That's just me.
I can tell you what it is. I think I can tell you what it is, right? It's the same appeal that the Darkness had when the Darkness broke.
No, because the Darkness are good.
No, the Darkness aren't.
Permission to Land is a
Is
fucking
a banger of
incredible
an
album. Don't
right?
you dare.
But what, when you talked about best a second ago, and you were doing this, and like
Yep.
there is no best, there is no good. There's what people enjoy, and there's what people don't enjoy.
Okay.
The Darkness really spoke to you and me because it had that guitar-y appeal to it.
I'm going to make one caveat to my
Sure.
there is no best, right? There is one best Christmas song, and it's absolutely The Darkness, Don't Let the Bells End.
No,
Yes.
it's every song on the Brad Paisley Christmas album.
I've never heard that album, but no. Because then we would need to say something like, well, maybe it's Robbie Williams' Christmas album that's the best.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Michael Bublé, don't start this. You're opening the floodgates to hell, son.
So what I'm saying with Ghost is when Ghost came out, they had that nice blend of like very theatrical, but also sound-wise, they are such a callback to 70s prog rock. And
Absolutely.
they really do have that 70s prog rock sound going on.
Yep.
And I think that that's enough to, when you combine the visuals with that, same as what the Darkness did. They had that 80s, classic 80s
Cock
look
rock.
going on. Yeah, the cock rock thing. That it was so different from everything else that was happening that everyone had stood up and took notice to it. And I think that's exactly what's happened with Ghost. Exactly what's happened with Ghost.
Okay.
Are
Except-
they the greatest band in the world right now? No, not even close. Like they're a pastiche of. I don't think they do anything original. I think the same with the Darkness. The Darkness never did anything original, right? They just repackaged things that came before for a new generation.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Love
I
Is
mean,
All My Feelings is a great song.
I'm being very matter of fact about
You'd
it.
be
of
very
course.
dismissive.
Yeah,
of
I
the
love the
Darkness.
Darkness. I do love the
I'm only
Darkness.
kidding.
I'm not going to say I love Ghost, but I've got to transcribe. I think the song's "Mary on a Cross" for someone at the moment, and I listened to it and I immediately just went. I mean, it's not an amazing song, but it's good. The production's great, and it's got. You know what? It sounds just totally different from all the other bands that are out at the moment, and that's enough for me to go. Tip my hat to you guys. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Is their singer the most important artist of the decade, as someone listed on some stupid article last time when we were talking?
You mean the vocalist of a band that they make a conscious effort not
Yeah.
to let you know who it is.
Yeah.
Very
No,
intelligent point.
he's been demasked now.
Aye, the full band have. My point is like their whole gimmick was that you don't know who they are.
Yeah. Right, so Loudwire. This is their top 10 metal albums of the decade.
Okay,
And I have not looked at these other than the number 10s, so I cannot tell you what's going to be number 1.
just go with number 10, and I'm going to give this away. I tried to give Empath a listen. It is far too mental for me. Far
I don't know
too
what
mental.
that means.
I got to sprites and I was just like, this sounds like 7 tracks dropped on top of each other. It's like Devin's opened up his Pro Tools or whatever his session has been for the full album and let all the tracks run together. It's too much. It's too much. For me,
no, I'm not gonna try and convince you you're wrong because that is how you feel.
I love Devin Townsend. I love
It makes me like
almost
honestly,
everything he's done. I love Genesis. That's a great track. But see, after that in the album, I feel as if it gets, for me, it gets really lost.
There's a couple of moments on there that I'm not crazy on. I will give it that. I can't decide if you're just being a guitar solo about things though, and just being very dramatic.
No, I'm
because the idea of actually Pro Tools in all the tracks at the same time. Like,
I'm being just sincere in how I felt about it.
Sure.
I tried again. Genuinely, I put it on to listen to it when I was driving because I was like, you know what? I've got a couple of hours. I'm just going to listen, and I can focus on it.
I got it all wrong, man.
What?
You have to watch it.
Is there videos for everything?
There's not videos for everything, but the songs that there aren't videos for, don't bother with them.
Well, I've seen Genesis and what's the other one?
Genesis Genesis isn't on Empath, is it?
Genesis is the first track on Empath.
Is it?
After the intro.
Okay.
That's the one that's got the hyper blast in the chorus.
Oh yeah.
That
I forget the names of the songs.
That's big dick in it. That's great. That's Dirk Verburen smashing it. I think no, that might have been Hammer Samus. I'm not
When
sure.
Spirits Collide is one of the lead singles of the album.
Is that the one with the music video where it's the guy in the spaceship?
No, that's Why, and
That's
I
a
think that's
great
one
one.
of the greatest songs ever written.
That's fantastic. I can't disagree with you. And you know what? I agree with you when you're talking about the video as well. When you and I were watching it in your house, I was like,
That just it tells a story. I sat and watched that with Tom, my father-in-law, and he thoroughly enjoyed it, and then wanted to watch more Devin Townsend videos and said, "I like this guy."
he's a storyteller. He is. And that's what, you know what? There might be a twinge of personal disappointment in it for me because of every Devin Townsend album I've listened to, and I'm talking about even like, he's got like a weird fucking sound album called like The Hummer or something, right?
Right.
Like a soundscape project. Everything I found something that I enjoyed about. And I don't know what I was expecting with Empath, but the singles I'd heard, I was like, cool. They're really frantic, but in a good way. It's like directed. The music has flow, but there's a couple of tracks on there that just they fatigued me to the point where I was like, I can't listen to it anymore. Sprites was one of them. I was like, it's just there is too much going on. I've never listened to a lot of Kate Bush, but I'd imagine it's like having Kate Bush in your ears while you're on steroids and on cocaine and on speed and on meth and like a fucking gravity chamber.
Bjork.
Sorry?
But you love Bjork.
Bjork's a different animal to Kate Bush. Bjork stays on like she's maybe got a bit of a strange taste for melody, but Kate Bush changes like fucking modulates like every bar in some songs and she's all over the place and it's like mad, shrill, almost hippie style madness and not taking any away from that. I think Kate Bush is incredible, but Bjork does something in my brain that Kate Bush hasn't done so far. And for all the Devin Townsend I've listened to and how much I fucking loved every time I've seen him or heard him, that album just didn't strike me. It didn't catch my attention.
So there's a reason you're saying this, and this is information that is unseen by everyone else. And that is that at number 10 on Loudwire's top 10 metal albums of the decade is the Devin Townsend project, Transcendence, the 2016 album.
Which I haven't heard that either.
I have. This is good record.
An album his diehard legions often call the best of anything he's ever done. They've never listened to Strapping Young Lad, or Ocean Machine, or Teria, or Synkestra,
Ziltoid,
or Ziltoid, or Deconstruction, or Addicted. So essentially they've not listened to Devin Townsend except Transcendence.
and many of those albums that you just mentioned came out in the last decade too.
Yes.
So what you're essentially saying is you hope the next 9 are those albums.
I think there's a lot more good music out there, but of all the choices to put Devin Townsend on the top 10, an album I've not heard,
Yep.
to be totally honest, versus the albums I have heard that some of them are like Synkestra is mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
The production on it's unbelievable. The opening track is Triumph. It's got Steve Vai on it.
I'm gonna blast through their text for this. So what they've written is Devon Townsend is a man of many talents and many sounds as well. He found yet another new direction in which to take his unique and unmistakable style on of the Devon Townsend project on Transcendence, an album with die-hard legions often calling the best of anything he's ever done. Transcendence is a musical journey offering insight into Devi's state of mind, where he seeks to find inner peace through the use of mantras. A moody album from track to track, one can't help but radiate with positivity and newfound energy after each listen. So maybe that'll inspire people to give that a listen. So that was number 10.
I'm going to write a wee list here, and I'm going to put these onto a playlist, I think.
Cool. Number 9, we have Fear Inoculum by Tool.
That'll be getting skipped.
Yeah. So I'll read the text. Worth the wait? You're damn right. Tool's Fear Inoculum was by far the most anticipated album of the decade, and it delivered spectacularly. Fear Inoculum sounds as if Danny Carey was hoarding new drum techniques for 13 years, while guitarist Adam Jones did the same for riffs, throwing 90% of them into the epic closer Tempest. The album's success speaks for itself, debuting at number 1 and moving a mammoth 270,000 copies in its first week. Fear Inoculum, the third highest first week sales of 2019 across all music genres. It took over a decade, but with Fear Inoculum, Tool became... Is that Pneuma?
Absolutely no idea what that means, but okay.
Yeah. Not for me. Not my cup of tea.
Nope.
In at number 8, Between the Buried and Me, The Parallax 2, Future Sequence.
I do love Between the Buried and Me, but again, another album I haven't heard.
And that's again, I'm just going to keep saying it. That is the problem with these decade things. It's such a monumental period of time. A decade is more than 10% of your life, you know? Like there's a lot of music has come out in that. Let's read it. So The Parallax 2 is an incredibly challenging piece of Between the Buried and Me's catalogue and won't allow any type of full comprehension without multiple listens. You tend to find that with a lot of their music, so good. Yeah, fine.
That's what gets me about them. I really like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say madness, but that...
Depth.
Depth's a really good way to put it. That's it.
You hear more each time you listen.
You need to be committed.
Yeah.
And you won't get it if you don't.
Yeah.
And... Sorry, on you go.
No, I'll keep going. So due to the creative success Between the Buried and Me achieved in writing a record about outer space, you find yourself spacing out to the most complex hypnotism you've ever encountered. But as the album begins to reveal its many nuances, understanding will begin to creep in, allowing for an incredibly rewarding listen. This 72-minute trip even rivals the almighty Colours, which secured Between the Buried and Me's status as prog gods.
When I saw the word Colours in that review, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to listen to this, because Colours is...
I know you love that record.
Mind-bending.
In at number 7, Iron Maiden's The Book of Souls. And it's worth pointing out, actually, there have been a lot of Iron Maiden rumours that they've got another album in the can. It's done, it's ready to go. So maybe we'll be getting more Iron Maiden music. Somehow they're still going.
Who cares?
Are you going to tell us your story about Iron Maiden being your first gig?
It was Funeral for a Friend, where the support band, they started an Iron Maiden chant, and then the chant was louder than them playing the next song.
Oh dear.
And continued into the song. I really, really enjoyed Funeral for a Friend. Yeah. I saw them that gig, and then I saw them on their farewell tour.
I think they're actually number 1 on this list.
Funeral for a Friend?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Right. The 5-year gap between studio albums was the longest of Iron Maiden's career, making the new release even more of a monumental world event than it typically is. Fans' patience was rewarded with the double album, The Book of Souls, which was bookended by a pair of Bruce Dickinson penned compositions, the roaring If Eternity Should Fall and the wildly ambitious piano-led Empire of the Clouds. There's a handful of shorter, quick hit songs that some had opined for over the last 25 plus years, but it's the epics that garner the most of the attention, and Yannick Gers once again puts his name on another 21st century Maiden best, the towering Book of Shadows title track.
I mean, you know you're getting Iron Maiden?
Yeah.
But you're also getting something good, always.
Yeah.
For the most part, there's not always perfect tracks on the full albums, but...
Okay. Power Trip.
Never listened to Power Trip,
Nightmare Logic.
but I've heard they are pretty good.
So no one blends thrash metal and hardcore quite like Power Trip. 2017's second LP, Nightmare Logic, was a watershed moment for the band, proving not only that they could rock the fuck out, but they could do so while penning some of the most thrilling heavy music heard in ages. It takes Power Trip just 32 minutes to prove their might with this record. The standout moment undeniably being Executioner's Tax, Swing of the Axe, which has all the markings of a future metal classic.
Nice.
Number 5, Carcass, Surgical Steel.
Take that back. The only album worse than this is fucking Swan Song.
Comeback records are dicey, but more often than not wind up tarnishing a fantastic legacy. Carcass were calculated in their return to the studio, as they all knew the biggest task at hand would be to formulate a cohesive direction to take the record in, especially given their sonic leaps from album to album in the past.
And they failed.
Surgical Steel is no retread and serves as perhaps Carcass's quintessential album.
Lies.
There are flashes of all of the styles throughout their career. Okay, not so much of the hack and slash gore grind.
Exactly.
Yeah, which afford the album a fantastic sense of pace and I'm struggling to say dynamism.
Yep.
That's a really hard word to say.
Dynamism.
I'm going to try that sentence again. You insert that. Which afford the album a fantastic sense of pace and
dynamism,
along with Bill Steer's finest sense of melody to date.
Stop it. I fucking love Carcass, right? But no, it's no good.
Okay. Septic Flesh in at number 4. Septic Flesh, The Great Mass. I have no idea who this band is.
Demo Borgir, but less goth.
Okay.
I think.
2008's Communion was the album that put symphonic metal giants Septic Flesh on the map, but The Great Mass was the one that solidified the band's place among the greats, proving that they were unstoppable masters at their craft, with epic songs such as The Vampire from Nazareth and Five Pointed Star. This album could easily serve as the theme music that plays when the devil himself enters his chambers in hell.
I think they're like Flesh God Apocalypse, but not fast.
Okay.
I think I gave them a try. See this? You know, you get the best Gojira album. Number 3, L'Enfant Sauvage. Good album, but it's absolutely not Master Sirius or The Way of All Flesh.
God, I've just seen what number 2 is.
Oh, I don't. Is it bad?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go on.
Although
so you read this.
Although Gojira already possessed mountains of fans and a solid discography before L'Enfant Sauvage, you're fucking right. The band is widely considered to be the breakout metal act of the early 2010s. The French metalers unveiled the full-length Universal Acclaim, successfully balancing the band's key components of brutality, beauty and progression with flawless production attached. The hype transcended the record into 2016's Magma, but in our opinion, L'Enfant is a superior album. You are wrong, and the production The Way of All Flesh and from Master Series is better than L'Enfant Sauvage. The guitar tone on that one is super, super mid-focused.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not bad, but it's not as well produced as the two albums before, or as good.
Are you ready to get really mad?
No doubt. Okay.
In at number 2, we have Ghost, Melora. Ghost's third album was a record drowning in success. Not only did its lead single, is that Cerise?
Cerise.
Cerise?
C-I-R-I-C-E.
Yeah, let's go with that. Scoop the 2016 Grammy for Best Metal Performance. But throughout its 10 tracks, Tobias Forge and his Ghouls delivered some of the most grandiose metal of the decade, from its opening track, Spirit, right up until the closing notes of Dies in Absentia. Ghost proved themselves masters of atmospheric, over-the-top metal, effortlessly blending doomy overtones with catchy choruses and hooky riffs.
I haven't listened to the album.
It's not great.
I'm biting my tongue.
No, it's not great. There's a song on it called Mummy Dust. I think that's the best song on the album.
You've mentioned this before, I think.
Yeah. Because that's the one closest to having a riff.
Of all the bands in 10 years that could be considered metal that have released albums And number 2 goes to Ghost.
Yeah, that's it for me. Like when I opened these stories, I saw Ghosts were at number 11. I had no idea that they were at number 2, and I was like, well, I'll get the opportunity to talk about Ghost and how I feel they probably should have been on the rock side of things more so than the metal side of things. They have dark themes in the way they look, but they're a rock band. If ever there was a band that was rock, it's Ghost. They are a 70s rock band.
Yes.
So,
I think they've just went, oh, they sound like they might be a doom metal band, therefore we can put them under metal. Right. The only thing, don't scroll.
I'm not going to scroll.
Right. Are we taking bets on what might be number 1? Because I'm reckoning it's going to be like
A decade's just too...
5 Finger Death Punch.
A decade's just
or
too
Avenged
much
Sevenfold. Or something else absolutely
Metallica
mince. Lulu. It might be St. Anger. Or fucking All Nightmare Long, or whatever the Death Magnetic, whatever the shit names of the albums are.
I want to pick a Meshuggah album.
I would be pleasantly surprised, but it's going to be something right absolute rank rotten dick.
Yeah, this is definitely this is an exciting moment for me. Ready?
No, I'm never ready. Let's do
Should
it.
we just not do it? Should we just go on?
No, let's do it. Come on.
Okay.
I was going to fucking say Behemoth after last week. You kidding me on?
The Satanist.
By Behemoth.
Well, we were both supposed to listen to this album, were we not?
We were, and I didn't.
And I didn't, also didn't.
I'm adding this to my playlist right now.
So this is 2
My excuse
consecutive
is I get a
people
new
that have
phone.
called this the best metal album of the decade. So I'm going to read it. The Satanist is very simply a vile masterpiece, a wicked and nefarious plunge into the war between heaven and hell, from the iconic opening chords of Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel, and the relentless double kick attack of Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer. There's something in that. Lucifer the Luthier. To the classic rock solos and malevolent chordal ambience of O Father, O Satan, O Son, Behemoth's 2014 album sits in its own class entirely when it comes to 2010's metal. The Satanist will forever reside with pivotal albums such as Rain in Blood, The Altars of Madness, Immortalized, Congealed. Okay, Immortalized in Congealed Vomit
and Callous Ash.
That's a terrible way to close that.
So
Congealed Vomit.
They're putting this up in the same levels as Slayer's Rain in Blood and Morbid Angel's Altars of Madness.
Yep. Okay, so there we go.
Going to get a listen.
I'm glad that it appeared. Because it gives more credibility to.
I genuinely was going to say it, and I was like, "Nah, it can't be."
So when it comes to rock, I am going to go much faster. I'm not going to read these.
No,
I'm just going to tell you who they were. So in at number 10, Highly Suspect, The
Never heard
Boy
of them.
Who Died Wolf. No idea who this is.
They were one of the rock's brightest bands, apparently.
My Chemical Romance, Danger Days, The True Lies of the Fabulous Killjoys.
I mean, My Chemical Romance have made a bit of a comeback recently, and I think they are onto some massive, massive further fame than what they've already had. So, okay.
Is that Pucifier?
Pucifer. That's actually fucking Maynard James Keenan's second band.
Oh,
His
okay.
side project.
Oh, yeah, I see him now. Yep, fair enough. Conditions of My Parole.
I don't know the album, but I'm not bothered about him. Belter of an album. Foo Fighters, Wasting Light.
Yeah, that's number 7.
Marilyn Manson, The Pale Emperor.
How
6.
is it that Marilyn Manson is on rock but Ghost are on metal? That makes no sense to me. No sense. The Pale Emperor. Yeah, okay, fine.
I don't know the album, so maybe it is. Baroness. They're probably more doom metal than they're rock.
Right.
Totally honest. Baroness are like fuzz pedals,
Okay.
baritone guitars, like
Noise.
really good. Remember Mutoid Man?
No.
I'll let you hear them. They had a couple of really cool
Okay.
tracks. They're like a 3-piece, right? Fantastic. Or they are a 3-piece. They're like a super group. Baroness are kind of similar to them. It's like a kind of more punky version of Mastodon.
Okay.
Not as technical. That kind of vibe.
Right.
Doomy. Alice in Chains, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. Good. Not as good as Black Gives Way to Blue.
Number 4, Alice in Chains.
Small bit of trivia for you. The actual track, Black Gives Way to Blue, Elton John played the piano on it.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Well.
I was listening today. Great track.
Number 3, Deftones, Diamond Eyes. So you approve of this?
I think they've got metal and rock kind of mixed up. Because, I mean, Deftones are definitely new metal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of the pioneers, or some of them.
Yeah, and they're definitely more metal than Ghost.
I don't remember any of Ghost's members playing an 8-string guitar.
Yeah. But you enjoy this album?
Diamond
You're a
Eyes
Deftones fan.
was big dick energy. Yeah. Koi no Yokan, the one just after, it's also fantastic. Since then, I was the big on Goer. Queens of the Stone Age, Like Clockwork, another absolute fucking belter. How is this list so much better than the metal one? What have they?
Well, to be fair, I forget the metal one already. Ghost, Gojira. Yeah, I think
there's no albums on there that you went that deserves to be on there.
For me, there's only a couple of albums on there that I listened to. So.
Exactly. There's nothing on here like that deserves to be there.
All right,
Whereas
so number one rock.
A good 8 of these have been like fucking dynamite.
Number one rock album.
Knowing these cunts, it could be fucking Slipknot.
Yeah, it could well be.
We Are Not Your Kind. Let's see.
I feel like
Shania Twain.
I want to say Red Hot Chili Peppers.
You're probably right in that.
Stadium Arcadium?
Disturbing and upsetting.
I hope I'm not.
Oh, so close.
Proving our point. Exactly. The number one Loudwire rock album of the decade is Stone Sour, House of Golden Bones Part 1.
Which is just Slipknot with less distortion.
Wow, that is... there's some good albums on that list.
And some right shite ones. For example, House of Golden Bones Part 1 by Stone Sour.
Well, I was actually going to say, when I was going through that, I was going to say Alter Bridge, because you would put them in with rock. At least when you go in HMV, you do find those in rock and pop, right?
Because they're stadium rock, you're right.
Yes. You will absolutely find Stone Sour in the heavy metal section of any record shop.
But they shouldn't be. Same as Slipknot shouldn't have really been in the metal category. They're kind of grey area.
To be fair, I do remember listening to that album when it came out and it not really grabbing me. The only Stone Sour I remember is I spent a lot of time listening to their first album when it came out, and the first
Is that
track
the one
on that
like
was
fucking Roadhogs and that one, or what it's called?
the first track on that is Get Inside, which is heavy. But that's not really massively representative of where Slipknot
mentally
where
atonal solo that works really well.
Yeah, Josh Rand absolutely ripping it up. So right, that's all I have for everybody today.
Yes,
hour and a half of us talking absolute nonsense. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed doing it. Right, Mike, move that microphone out of the way. Move that mic out of the way. Mike is now currently modelling the wonderful Guitar Saints t-shirt. Available now on Teespring. Link in the description. Great way to support the show. Wonderful way to help us pay for another year of hosting. There is actually talk of some other merchandise that we're talking about that will involve a lot more R&D, shall we say. That I think that's teasy enough, don't you?
Root beer and drugs.
Yeah,
that's what it means.
So please do check us out on Teespring, and if you see something that you would like, I almost added loads of stupid things on there like socks and shit. Someone actually bought one of our mugs.
Nice.
Yeah, so someone's out there drinking out of a mug with our face on it. So I'd love a picture of that. If someone could send me a picture of your Guitar Souls mug, that would be rocking and rolling.
As silly as it sounds, like any support genuinely means a lot to us. Thank you very much. Whether you click to subscribe or you're just listening for the first time and you've enjoyed it, or you're not really that bothered, or you think other people might like it, or you've listened all the way through and you want to support us otherwise, we're very grateful.
Yes. And speaking of thanking people for their support, we also have to thank Ormsby Guitars, our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. Please do head on over to Ormsby's website, check out what they've got coming. You are going to want to keep your eyes peeled for NAMM and the things that they announce at NAMM, because there's some very, very cool things. Very, very cool things. Very, very, very cool things. And I cannot wait to see some of them and hopefully maybe get our hands on some of it at some point.
Oh, you never know. We might get lucky.
Who knows? See.
Perry, please.
Please, Perry.
Please, Perry.
Please.
I was going to go too far and say like Daddy Perry or whatever, but I'm not going to ruin the relationship here.
Perry, if you send us more guitars, we'll redesign this logo so your face is at the top in the middle.
Make us like God in the background.
Yeah. So as always, thank you so much for listening to the show. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, all of that good stuff. We are more than happy to keep doing this. So yes. Mike, you ready? Until next time.
Bye, fuckers.